Well, here we go again. I'm gonna hit it with some more primer. All the spots have got to be primed. Now I just went around with the vacuum cleaner, I sucked up the floor, I didn't go crazy on it. And I cleaned everything off with a rag and blew it off. And I'm just gonna hit it with another coat of primer on all the spots that I had sanded. And it's gonna be the primer surfacer, and I'm gonna try to put a pretty heavy coat onto it. And then we're gonna see what it looks like. And then we'll sand it off, and we'll probably wind up with a little bit more spot putty, I imagine. Something will show up. But after that, I'm gonna sand it out. Probably sand the roof off, and tomorrow I plan on painting the roof black. So I wanna get this all primed up and sanded down to where the roof's gonna be good, and where the red's gonna meet the black. And I'm gonna be using this stuff again. This Kirker Perfect Primer Surfacer. I'll have to thin it like I did before. And we're gonna spray it on there and see how it winds up looking. Then we'll take it from there. So I gotta mix this stuff up 4-to-1, and that's this chart right here on my little mixing cup, and I'm gonna go to the 3. I think that'll be enough to do what I need to do. You don't want to mix more than you need because you can't put it back in the can, and it's got hardener in it. So it's done. It's got a 2-hour shelf life, pot life they call it, and that'll be that. So I gotta see my line here. Where is it? Oop, I gotta stir this. You know what? I threw it in the shaker and shook it like crazy, but always want to give it a stir too, just to make sure. Yep, looks good. Nothing's hard on the bottom, you know? It almost looks like I used up almost this whole gallon on that car with the first coat, so I will use this whole gallon. That's all that's left. It only comes up to here, so it's only about 1.5 or 2 inches of paint left down to the bottom of this can. Probably about a quart. Anyway, let's get her in there and let's get her going and let's get this thing done. All right, here we go. It's up to 1. It's coming up to 2. And now we're getting her up to 3 right there. Beautiful. Now I filled her up to the 3 mark with that. Put my lid back on. Now I gotta get up to the 3 mark with the hardener. And here I am, 4, so I gotta get it up to that line right there. I'm gonna go a hair more, because it looks like I'm just a hair above the 3 mark. Oh, it's just because I put the stick in there, probably, but okay. We're gonna go up to the 3 mark plus a smidgen. That's it. Perfecto. Now we're gonna mix this stuff up. Ooh, boy, it is thick. Thick on the bottom, and this stuff, the hardener, is pretty thin on top. So I gotta kind of mix it and blend it and get her going. Get it mixing up good. Mixing, mixing, mixing. Now I can see, wow, there's a dark spot in here. I got to put more light on in this place. The way that's sheeting off there, I can tell that is too thick to go through the gun. So now we gotta see, I gotta put some of this, I use shop line a lot whenever I'm doing this stuff. I got some medium universal urethane reducer. I'm gonna throw some of this in there. Thin it down a bit so it'll go through the gun. But I don't want to thin it too much because I want it to go on thick. Wild guess, just doing it by feel. I think that's probably close. I can't over thin it because once you put the thinner in there, you can't take it out. And it's not thinner, it's reducer. But once it's in there, it don't come out. So, yeah, it's pretty close. We're looking pretty good, I think. Put that there. Close up my primer can a little bit. Put this out of the way, and that's gonna be time to fill the gun. So I got that all mixed up. It's ready to pour in the gun. I gotta throw on my mask. I got my little smocky thing on, so hopefully it keeps the overspray off my skin. I don't really want that on there. I'll probably throw a hat on too once I get my mask on, and then we'll start spraying. Okay, I got this painted on there. It's really thick. I had a little bit too much fluid coming out. I'm using it up like mad. Luckily, with this primer, it'll sand right out. Well, so much for that. I'm using up this whole primer on one side. I haven't got to the other side yet with a second coat. Beautiful. I have got to mix up more primer. I can tell already. All right, put that coat on the hood so heavy I don't think I'm gonna put a second coat on. I don't think it needs it. This stuff's gotta harden up. By tomorrow it'll be sandable. It should be sandable in a couple hours, but as thick as I put it on there, holy smokes. It's still wet. I just dumped it on and there's a big run. No big deal though, there's a big pretty big run in the sag. Boy, if I did that with the paint, I'd be crying right now. All right, for this coat, I'm just gonna go up to the number 2 line. I think it should be enough, I don't know. I'm guessing, you know? I don't want to throw this mix stick that I mixed up the hardened stuff back into the can, the original can, so I'm cracking out a new mix stick. I don't want to run the risk of hardening up the rest of my primer because I mixed primer with unmixed primer and ruined the whole rest of the can, which ain't a whole lot, but you know, this stuff costs money, so you gotta be smart about it, not blow it at least. Put the hardener in there up to the number 2 for the hardener line. Bingo. And I'll have to add just a dab of reducer to this too. If I have any extra, I have thin spots I know I could use it up in, so we'll be all right. That almost seems a little thin. I don't know why. Seems like that had sprayed away it is. Huh. You know what? I'm going to try it without any reducer. See what happens. Worst comes to worst, I'll have to take it back out of the gun, put it back in the mix cup, and then mix it up again. But I think I'll be okay. It's worth a shot. We'll give it a try. That's what we're all about at this channel, trying stuff. Because the older I get, the more I know I don't know nothing. So I just keep trying. Man, I'm stingy. See me squeezing this, wringing every last drop out of it. Well, stuff costs money. We're going to go over and paint that quarter panel. And when I say paint, I really mean prime. Looking at that quarter, I'm seeing heavy sand scratches. It must be, I don't know, did I forget the D8? I was going to D8 it, I think, with 80 grit. And what it's got now is 40 grit sand scratches with the board that I went across it with. Pretty heavy. But I got more primer. I'm going to dump it on that quarter panel, and then I'm going to sand it out with 220 and see what happens. If this wasn't an epoxy primer that was going to shrink and dries instead of hardens, and I wasn't coming back the next day to do it, I wouldn't do it this way. I would probably let that harden and sand it all off smooth and then prime it again. Which, I got primer in the gun now that's going to harden up and ruin itself, so I'm going to spray it on and see what it looks like tomorrow and see if I can sand out those scratches. Anyway guys, I'm going to clean up the gun, call it a night. Thanks for showing up today. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We'll see you guys on the next one.